Welcome to Picture Mavericks. So let me tell you about Creed 3, and this movie hit different from any boxing film I have seen in a long time because it is not really about boxing. It is about guilt, friendship, secrets, and the things we bury deep inside us because we are too scared to face them. So let me walk you through this incredible story. The movie starts by taking us back to 2002 in Los Angeles, where we see a young Adonis Creed and his best friend Damian Anderson, who everyone calls Dame. These two young men are incredibly close. They are like brothers, and Dame is actually the more talented boxer of the two at this point. He is ferocious and gifted, and everyone can see he is going somewhere. One night after Dame wins a big amateur fight, everything goes wrong. A guy named Leon pulls a gun on Dame, and a confrontation breaks out, and young Adonis grabs the gun and gets involved in the fight. Dame ends up stabbing Leon to protect Adonis. And when the police arrive, Dame takes the blame for everything to protect Adonis because Adonis had a future and opportunities that Dame did not want to destroy. Dame goes to prison for 18 years. Adonis goes on to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Now we jump forward to the present day, and Adonis Creed is at the top of his world. He has retired from boxing. He is managing fighters. He has a beautiful family with his wife Bianca and their daughter Amara, who is deaf. And he is building a legacy as one of the greatest boxers of all time. His life looks perfect from the outside. Then Dame gets released from prison after 18 years, and he comes to find Adonis. And this is where everything gets complicated because Adonis is not prepared for how this reunion feels. Dame is not bitter or angry when he first appears. He is charming and charismatic, and he just wants a chance. He wants Adonis to help him get back into boxing because even after 18 years in prison, he never stopped training. Boxing is all he knows and all he has. He still believes he has what it takes to compete at a high level. Adonis feels guilty. He knows Dame went to prison to protect him, and he feels like he owes Dame something. So he agrees to help him get a fight. He connects Dame with the promotional side of the boxing world and gives him an opportunity to prove himself. But here is where things start to show you who Dame really is. Dame is not just looking for an opportunity. He is looking for what he believes is owed to him. And his hunger and his anger start to show in more threatening ways. He manipulates situations. He engineers circumstances to get what he wants. And you start to realize that 18 years in prison has changed Dame in ways that go beyond just the physical. Dame sets his sights on Felix Chavez, who is the current champion and also someone Adonis manages and cares about. Dame pushes and manipulates until he gets a title shot against Felix. And in their fight, Dame is absolutely brutal. He does not just beat Felix, he destroys him in a way that is almost personal, like he is sending a message to Adonis more than just winning a fight. When Dame wins the championship, Adonis watches and realizes this is not just about boxing. This is about the past, about what happened that night 18 years ago, about the guilt and the debt and the resentment that has been building inside Dame for nearly 2 decades. Adonis tries to maintain his distance and stay retired, but Dame keeps pushing. Keeps making it clear that he wants Adonis in the ring, not just as a promoter, but as a fighter. Dame wants to fight Adonis because in his mind Adonis got everything while he got nothing. Adonis got the championships and the fame and the family and the life, while Dame rotted in prison. And the only way to settle that imbalance in Dame's mind is to get in the ring and fight the man whose freedom he sacrificed his own for. Adonis eventually agrees to come out of retirement and fight Dame. And what makes this fascinating is why he agrees. It is not just because Dame is threatening people or because he feels pressure. It is because deep down Adonis has been carrying the guilt of what happened for 18 years, and he cannot escape it. He has never truly dealt with the fact that his best friend went to prison for him, that Dame's life was destroyed while his flourished, and fighting Dame is the only way he can face that guilt directly. His trainer Duke and everyone around him is against the fight, because Adonis has been out of the ring for years and Dame has been training constantly. But Adonis trains with a ferocity that surprises everyone because this fight means everything to him on a personal level. The training montage in this movie is brilliant because it shows Adonis preparing not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. He is confronting his past. He is facing the memories of what happened that night. And he is trying to figure out who he is when he is stripped of everything except his guilt and his love for his friend. Before the fight, Adonis goes to see Dame, and there is this raw, honest conversation between them where the truth comes out fully. Adonis admits he has felt guilty every single day, He knows Dame saved him that night. He knows Dame sacrificed everything for him, and he is sorry. But Dame's response is chilling because Dame does not want apologies. Dame wants acknowledgement. He wants Adonis to feel even a fraction of what it felt like to be locked away while watching someone else live the life that could have been yours. The fight itself is absolutely spectacular, and it is unique because of how director Michael B. Jordan chose to film it. The arena goes dark, and the fight is shown in this almost dreamlike sequence where the crowd disappears, and it is just Adonis and Dame alone with their history, their friendship, their guilt, and their resentment, stripped of everything else. This visual choice is brilliant because it tells us that this fight is not really a boxing match. It is a reckoning. It is two men confronting 18 years of unspoken truth and unresolved emotion through the only language they both know, which is fighting. Adonis wins the fight, but the victory does not feel triumphant in the usual boxing movie way because the real fight was never about a championship belt. It was about two men who loved each other like brothers, whose lives were permanently altered by one terrible night, trying to find some kind of peace with what happened. After the fight, there is a moment between Adonis and Dame that is quiet and human, and it suggests that whatever comes next there is at least some understanding between them, some acknowledgement of the truth that both of them had been avoiding for 18 years. The movie ends with Adonis at peace in a way he has not been since before Dame went to prison, not because everything is resolved perfectly, but because he finally faced what he had been running from. So what does Creed 3 teach us? This movie has so much to say about guilt, friendship, sacrifice, and the cost of secrets. First, guilt that is never addressed will follow you forever. Adonis had a perfect life on the outside, but inside he was carrying 18 years of guilt about Dame, and it affected everything. His relationships, his peace of mind, his sense of who he was. This teaches us that we cannot just bury painful truths and expect them to go away. They stay with us and grow heavier over time until we face them. Second, when someone sacrifices for you, it creates a responsibility you cannot ignore. Dame gave up 18 years of his life for Adonis, and Adonis could never truly enjoy his success because he knew the cost of it. This teaches us that when people make sacrifices for us, we have a responsibility to honor that sacrifice. Not just feel grateful, but to acknowledge it and not pretend it did not happen. Third, prison and trauma change people in ways others cannot fully understand. Dame went into prison as Adonis's best friend and came out as someone who was both the same person and completely different. 18 years of confinement and hardship shaped him into someone who carries deep wounds that cannot be healed by simply getting out and moving on. This teaches us to have compassion for people who have been through experiences we cannot fully comprehend. Fourth, success does not erase the past. Adonis became world champion. He had everything anyone could want, but none of that resolved what happened with Dame. This teaches us that achievements and external success cannot heal internal wounds or resolve unfinished emotional business. Those things require direct confrontation, not accomplishment. Fifth, some friendships carry such deep history that they cannot simply end. Even though Dame became an antagonist in the story, the movie never lets us forget that he and Adonis genuinely loved each other, and that history made the conflict more painful and more meaningful than any regular rivalry. This teaches us that the people we are closest to can also hurt us most deeply because they know us most completely. Sixth, accountability is different from blame. The movie is not about blaming Adonis for what happened. He was young and scared and did not ask Dame to take the blame. But it is about Adonis being accountable, acknowledging the truth of what happened and what it cost, and not hiding behind his success to avoid that accountability. This teaches us the difference between being blamed for something and being accountable for how our choices affected others. Seventh, facing our fears and our guilt directly is the only way to be free. Adonis could have kept avoiding Dame. He could have stayed retired and tried to manage the situation without ever confronting it directly, but he would have never been truly free. By choosing to fight Dame, to stand in front of his guilt literally and figuratively, he finally found peace. This teaches us that freedom from our past only comes through facing it, not running from it. Eighth, redemption is not always clean or complete. The ending of Creed 3 is not a perfect, happy resolution where everything is fixed and everyone is friends again. It is messier and more honest than that. It is two people who went through something terrible together, finding a moment of mutual understanding, and sometimes that is the best you can get. This teaches us that real-life resolution rarely looks like movie endings. Sometimes peace is quieter and more complicated than we expect. And finally, what you choose to do for others defines who you are. Dame chose to protect Adonis at enormous personal cost, and Adonis chose to finally face that truth instead of continuing to hide from it. Both choices say something profound about who these men are at their core, and the movie asks us to think about what our choices say about us. Not just the comfortable choices, but the hard ones. Creed 3 works as a boxing movie, but it is really a film about the invisible battles we fight inside ourselves, the guilt we carry, the friendships we cannot let go of, and the moments from our past that shape everything that comes after. Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut brought something fresh and emotionally complex to this franchise that elevated it beyond typical sports drama. The visual choice to have the climactic fight take place in what feels like a private space between just these two men was inspired because it captured exactly what this whole movie was about. Two friends settling something between themselves that had nothing to do with titles or money or fame, and everything to do with truth and reckoning and finally being honest with each other after 18 years. This has been Picture Mavericks. Thanks for watching.